Good morning, good afternoon to everyone who is joining this webinar. Welcome to our Forma webinar that has a special guest, HMC Architects. So we're going to deep dive into HMC Architects' data-driven workflow and how they leveraged Forma Site Design and AI for high-impact designs. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We have a packed hour, so I want to make sure we have enough time for questions at the end. I'm Robin Franke. I'm an adoption specialist on the Autodesk Forma design team. I work with our accounts in North America to further Forma adoption within firms. And today we're joined by two special guests from HMC, Venus and Shweta. Do you want to introduce yourselves really quickly?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Shweta Joshi. I'm a project design technologist at HMC Architects and glad to be here today.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Veena Samrani. I'm Sustainable Design Analyst in HMC and very happy here to review one of our projects with you.
All right, thank you both. So just a couple of housekeeping before we get started, housekeeping rules. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. We have members of our team that are constantly reviewing the Q&A and answering any questions that you have. So feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A box. If you do have any questions following this webinar, you want to get in contact with us, feel free to post those on our Forma forum. So the link is on the slide, and if someone can also post that link in the chat, that would be great. And this presentation will be recorded, so if you have to leave early or miss out on the second half, no worries. We will send everyone the recording, and it will also be posted on YouTube and our forum for review later on. All right, so starting off with a slide, if you've joined a Autodesk webinar or any presentation before, our safe harbor. Just a reminder that we are making forward-looking statements in this webinar. Please do not make any purchasing decisions based on the contents of this presentation. All right, so the agenda for today, I'm going to do a brief introduction to Forma Site Design and the Forma Industry Cloud, just so you have a good understanding of the application that Shweta and Venus are going to talk about and how they're using it in their own workflow. So I'm going to do a quick overview, and then I'll hand it over to HMC to talk about using Forma in their workflows and how it was able to bring them success. And then we'll do a 10-minute Q&A at the end. All right, so before we get started, we wanted to launch a poll. So that poll should be showing up right now if you were able to answer the question, just to help us understand you better, why you're attending this webinar. What do you hope to get out of it? Amazing. Many people have never used Forma but want to learn more. This is an excellent presentation for you to see, because not only will we do an introduction of site design, but then also, more importantly, how your peers are using it and other firms are using it right now. All right. I think that's enough time to ensure everyone answers it. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now. And let's go ahead and get started. So, as the poll showed, a lot of you haven't heard of Forma before or haven't used it. So let's just start with a little bit of background. So Forma is the AEC industry cloud for Autodesk. We have three industry clouds within the company, Forma, Fusion, and Flow. And Forma is the industry cloud for architecture, engineering, construction, and operations. And Forma is the first comprehensive industry cloud in the industry for architects, engineers, contracts, and owners. It aims to unify BIM workflows across the project lifecycle and across different verticals as well. So it really is going to be a comprehensive industry cloud with one common data environment. So you'll be able to work across a project lifecycle in different stages and not have the need to do any rework. The data that you create in the beginning and the planning phase will be carried on all the way to operations with the Forma Industry Cloud, with new tools like Forma Site Design and Building Design built on top of the Industry Cloud. And in the future, with the Industry Cloud capabilities, we'll be linking our hero desktop products like Revit with our connected clients to ensure that we're working on one common cohesive project environment with up-to-date data and one data source. So just to talk a bit more about what this looks like, if we think about a project and its life cycle from planning to operations, we have multiple tools available at Autodesk to help support different parts of a project and its life cycle. The tool we're going to be focusing on today is Forma Site Design. And Forma Site Design is a cloud-based tool built on top of the industry cloud to support early stage planning and design for buildings. And that's what this meeting is about. We also have various other tools that have been built on top of the industry cloud. Some are very new and in tech preview right now, and some are in beta. So, like building design is a new tool that's coming out. We have a wait list for it if you'd like to join. To learn more about continuing schematic design in the cloud and all of these web-based tools that are built on top of the industry platform. So again, we're just talking about one tool or one product today in terms of the Forma Industry Cloud product suite, and it's going to be site design. All right, so more about site design. As we know, it's that tool in the early stages of a project that you would start a project with. What is site design? So site design is an early stage cloud-based analysis and conceptual design tool where you can do a lot of different things. So the beauty about site design is that because it's cloud-based, you don't need to have anything downloaded, right? So you can access it via Chrome and you can get started with a project in your location with just a couple of clicks. So when you start project for the first time, you're able to order contextual data that is available for the actual location of your project and get going on a site with data that's already geolocated and ready for you to start designing, which moves on to our 3D modeling capabilities. If you would like to, you can design natively in the Forma environment, both 2D and 3D assets that you can then run environmental analyses on. So one of the main benefits of using site design as a tool for early stage planning and design for your massing studies is that you can run a suite of environmental analyses to help optimize and iterate based on outcomes that you are striving to achieve. So we have a variety of different analyses, sun hours, microclimate, wind, noise, embodied carbon, shadow, that are all native to the site design product that you can then run multiple times as you iterate on your massing options. And we'll see that more with HMC's presentation. We also have a variety of tools for documenting your insights and collaborating with others, namely Forma Board. It is our whiteboard tool that is connected to site design. So you can take the analysis, the widget of your analysis, the widget of your different design options, put them on a whiteboard and display your design options side by side and use it as a collaborative tool, not only with your team, but also external stakeholders to understand the concepts and what you're trying to convey for your project. And then lastly, We have an open API and ecosystem that allows third-party companies to build on top of the native Forma functionality. So, for example, we have a Veris extension where we're able to generate AI renderings based on snapshots of the designs that you've made in Forma. We have a test fit extension for surface parking because we don't have a surface parking tool natively. So the open APIs and the beauty about being connected to the industry cloud is that we're able to extend Forma's native capabilities via our third-party providers who have expertise in various workflows that are more particular than what Forma can provide. All right, so here is a quick demo of site design, starting out with site creation. So going through the process of creating a project is very easy. All you do is enter the address in question of your site location. It's going to ask you to confirm the map area of your project. And once you click confirm, Forma will start to create a site for you. So it's generating the data for the site, including the terrain. And then it's going to ask if you want to order any contextual data for your site. And this is such an easy way to get started with a project. If you have no data available or don't know where to start, you're able to pull in existing conditions information directly into your site. So everything from buildings to property boundaries, to terrain, roads, trees, etc. You're able to order natively in Forma, and Forma will automatically georeference these data sets for you, all of the contextual data, and place them onto your terrain. By the way, the terrain is also, of course, accurate for the area. And you are also able to toggle on and off your different data sets and choose some of these data sets, your contextual data, to make them your site limit. So here, if we wanted to take a property boundary that we ordered, we can select those and merge them to become our site limit for our project, which is wonderful. So just in a couple of minutes, we're able to go from nothing to a pretty good starting base for our project. And this is especially great for pursuits, right? When you don't have a lot of time, but you want to have a good start of existing conditions to better understand the area of the proposed project. And see here, we've brought in the roads, we've brought in existing buildings, we've defined our site limit to go ahead and get started. So there's a series of tools that you can use within Forma to start designing. We have various building and massing tools that you can use that have different automations depending on the types of buildings that you would like to draw. This is our line building tool, so it will generate a building segment based on a line that you draw on your site. You can then choose to section it off. Or do whatever you would like. It's a very easy way to start to generate area metrics based on proposed buildings just by drawing a line segment. So this is just one of the automations we have in drawing 3D for buildings to go ahead and get started and understand what's possible on your site. We also have the ability to do some advanced drawing tools as well. So we have a basic building tool, which allows you to generate your own building footprint and extrude that by height. So that's another building automation. And for more advanced drawing tools, we have the ability to enter a mode called 3D Sketch. So this is showing 3D Sketch where we're taking our line building generator and applying advanced conceptual edits to it. So by adding a pitched roof to this building using 3D Sketch, we're able to get a little bit more detailed in our massings. So just to recap, we have a couple of different building tools in Forma depending on the level of detail you want to get into. If you just want to draw out massing options very quickly, massing blocks to understand potential area capacity, you can use a line building tool. We have a basic building tool for drawing out building footprints and extruding that by height. So those are both LOD1 options. And then we have a tool called 3D Sketch, which is what's shown here, to advance and further detail our masses to be a bit more conceptual as well. So depending on the level of detail you want to get into Forma, you're able to do so natively with our drawing tools. All right, so notice how we've been running some analyses. On the right-hand panel are the analysis tools that are available natively within Forma. So we have a sun hours analysis that we've just run, daylight, wind, microclimate, noise, solar panel potential, and embodied carbon. All of these are meant to be run on your different massing options that you have in site design and start to understand, iterate which design is performing better and which. And depending on what the outcome is that you're trying to achieve with this project, you can make better and more informed decisions on which design option you should move forward with. And that's really what the goal of site design is for. It's to give you these insights that you may not have been able to run with other tools at this early stage when it's still possible to edit and iterate your mass before it's too late and it becomes too expensive to do so. We can also share the sites with stakeholders and our teammates. So you can share the project not only with your teammates to edit with you and collaborate together in the site, but you can also share the project or the site as a viewer. So if you want a stakeholder to view the environment and your proposal in 3D, that's also an option. So now we're moving into a mode called Visual Compare, and this allows us to view our analyses and our design options side by side for the same analysis. So let's say in this example, we have two synced camera views of two different design options with the same analysis being run. And we can see one design option and the other and how they perform against each other. Maybe the one on the left is better for sun exposure on the facades versus the one on the right, but maybe the one on the right performs better for wind conditions in the area. And it gives the designer more information to analyze these trade-offs, to understand what they can expect for these projects before we even go into detailed design, to understand what it would be like to experience this project on the ground and to be someone who's going through the project and living there. So this is just showing the capabilities we have for exploring our analyses and the detailed information we can get. We can add in inspection points, which will show us directly on the site or the facade what the result of that analysis is. So sun hours is telling us the number of hours of sun over a period of 24 hours on a given day. And then lastly, talking about Forma's collaboration tools, we have Forma Board. So Forma Board is directly linked to site design, and you're able to create frames, look at your proposals or your design options on the left, and then drag and drop the widgets for your area metrics, the analysis that you run, and place them in a visual whiteboard for stakeholders and team members to collaborate and comment on, which is really fantastic. So here we can see we're dragging in the live area metrics, the live design view, and some of the analyses that have been run. So two design options, the same analyses, as well as the area metrics. And we're able to showcase them in a nice, clean presentation view, snapshot view, to understand the trade-offs between each design. So here you can invite people to comment, just like you could invite people to the site, you can invite people to the board to comment or to edit, um, uh, to collaborate with you and to get more insight. So it becomes a live project sharing tool, but it's within site design, which is very nice. So you don't have to use another application to do this work anymore. And then lastly, we also have the ability to enter presentation mode. So if you would like to, you can use site design and Forma Board as a presentation tool to wrap up all of the work that you've done within site design for early stage. All right, so just to recap, Forma Site Design is a tool for early stage planning and design. When you're just starting out on a project, if you're working on a pursuit, site design is a wonderful tool just to start and understand what the existing conditions look like and what you can possibly propose on a site without having any data to go off of. Forma provides that great basis of understanding for you. And really, there are a lot of ways you can get value from site design. We'll hear from HMC, not only with increased productivity, but better project outcomes with the outcome-based design workflows that Forma provides, the ability to iterate, see an analysis result, iterate to try and improve the result over time will lead to better project outcomes. And of course, with Forma Board and the ability to share in a cloud-based environment, Forma is a wonderful tool for improving collaboration, not only with your team, but other stakeholders as well. All right, so that is a brief overview of site design. I wanted to give you the opportunity to log in to site design now if you wanted to see what it looks like. If you go to app.autodeskforma.com, it will ask you to log in with your Autodesk credentials. Many of you already have access to site design already as it's part of the AEC collection. So it doesn't hurt to log in and explore and see what's possible with site design. As you saw, it's a fairly easy tool to use and you can get a lot of value from it. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Venus and Shweta to talk about how they're using site design for pursuits and AI at HMC.
Thank you, Robin. Uh, Yeah, so today we'll be sharing about our recent project pursuit. And I think most of you here are familiar with the pursuit phase. It's really a pressure cooker of our industry. So we faced a classic trifecta of constraints like very limited budget to iterate. We had very limited time, and the most challenging part was since we were pursuing the science center, there was very limited data to base our decisions on. And in those cases, we usually, when we have these kind of constraints, we usually rely on our best guesses or things that have already worked in past. We try to tend to go there. So for this particular project, we wanted to flip the script and use the tools that can give us data from day one. And I think, Robin, you have a poll here.
Yep, so we're going to launch one more poll to get started, and it's related to pursuits. And the question should be, have we launched the poll yet? Can we see it? There we go. What tools do you use for winning work or when you're doing pursuits usually? Let's see, Rhino, yep. Revit, AutoCAD, SketchUp. None for site design yet. That's funny. For marketing, we should do this in a year and see if that raises it. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on the polls. Let's close the poll now. All right, looks good. Back to you.
Okay. So on this project, we started it with a very massive 900-page master planning and criteria document. It was rich in information, but it came with a lot of noise too, and we needed to digest all that information in a very short time. So to cut through the noise, we used AI to synthesize a lot of text and generate this word cloud. Project was simple. The larger the word, the more frequently it appeared in their requirements. So immediately words like equity, sustainability, and community jumped out to us. And this visualization gave us our project's North Star to work towards and ensure that our design aligns exactly with what the district valued the most. And since we were designing a STEM center where science is put on display, we decided to really get into the character. So we treated this pursuit like a science experiment. So instead of just drawing cool shapes, we established a hypothesis, ran a series of rigorous tests, and analyzed results. So we let the data, along with our intuition, lead us to the final design. Uh, we we moved from very abstract word cloud to this physical reality of the site. As you can see in this diagram, we mapped out the visible context like the existing tree and view corridors. And we also charted the invisible forces. So we identified prevailing winds coming from the west and also the solar paths that would dictate our building's performance. We also mapped out some underground constraints we had, like the existing gas and sewer line, which strictly limited our building's area. And this diagram became kind of a roadmap of what was possible for us at a very early stage. And to understand the local climate and context, we researched the psychrometric chart. And the, with the data, we realized that this was a very heating dominated climate. Uh, and we have a huge opportunity for some passive efficiencies to gain here. Specifically, you can see that sun shading and internal heat gain is almost 40% of the time, and heating and humidification is at 40%. So what it means is these are the significant number of hours needed for this building to feel cool and comfortable. And this validated some of our decisions to prioritize southern exposure and having facades with longer depths and general orientation strategies very early on in that pursuit stage. We also wanted to make sure that we aren't designing in vacuum. So we sat down with the users to dive deep into the program adjacencies. By moving physical pieces around on a site map together, we uncovered some connections that we had missed on the screen. For example, during this session, we learned that that existing redwood tree was important to them. And this session really defined the flow that you see on the left, ensuring that the new science center was not just efficient, but it was also supporting the campus culture that they valued the most. So from this entire session, we defined our key variables. So based on the site analysis and user interviews, we established these 5 control variables that we can run tests on throughout our process. So we needed a massing that fits the program, but also actively optimizes for solar exposure. And we wanted to avoid any unwanted wind tunnels. And we wanted to shield classrooms from outdoor noises because there are some existing HVAC utilities out in the courtyards that was generating a lot of noise. So opening up any of the courtyards there would render them pretty much inefficient. And eventually we added this 2 additional parameters of possibility of saving the tree and also making sure that we incorporate user feedback throughout this entire process. So with that, we started with optioneering in Forma, and all these masses were done in Forma because it's so easy to extrude massing in Forma and run tests pretty fast enough. So we started with this bar option because it was explicitly suggested in that criteria document. So that served as like our starting point. But then we also wanted to see that if we could beat the baseline. So using Forma, we rapidly generated other options and ran tests on those ones too for this cube and courtyard typology. So instead of debating subjectively, we ran identical simulation on all 3 of them. And that allowed us to prove that while bar was what they had asked for, what they really needed was the courtyard option. And we'll go through that. And that offered a much superior daylight and outdoor comfort that the bar option just couldn't match. And with this process, we had established the how of our project, and the data define most of our strategy. And now Venus will take you under the hood to show you the engine behind those decisions and demonstrate exactly how we ran those simulations in Forma. So take it away, Venus.
Just let me swap. Can you see my screen? Okay, thank you so, Shweta, for overviewing the projects for our pursuit projects. Let's move into sustainability. In following a slide, I'm going to show the analysis that shapes our design. Instead of jumping to the outcome, we want to walk you through the process. It is important to see the data behind of the design, not just the final model. In this case, we selected.
Venus,
Venus, hold on a
I can't
second.
see your screen.
Oh, we cannot
No.
see my screen. Just let me to see. Okay. Okay. You can see now my screen.
Yes, but not in presentation mode. But I can see the
Okay,
PowerPoint.
just let me to one more time. Okay, just let me to share again. Mm. Okay, share it. And okay. Can you see now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, great. So just let go. Okay, so let's to see. Thank you, Shota. Do you want to start again? So, so let's jump to sustainability. In the following slide, I'm going to show you the analysis behind R of design. And instead of going only focus on outcomes, we would like to walk you through the process. It is important for us to show the data behind of our design, the science behind of our design, instead of only focus on a final model. We selected some key studies to share with you. Is not all of the studies that we had done for these projects. Let's start with sun hours in summer solstice. So as you can see, the first step for us was creating a key parameters table to ensure all of our teams was aligned in our goals. For example, in this case, our goal for summertime with maximum shading to for outdoor comfort, and also we aim to reduce the harsh sunlight in the east, west, and also south, somehow in the south. And as Shweta mentioned, there is existing redwood tree. In our side, it was in our side that we are looking to keep these uh, trees as our one of the our site ecology goals. So I wanted to highlight our methodology here. For a comparison between two options, which is bar, cube, and also courtyard, we place some critical location um, point on the site, and with using great tools in Forma, help to measure exactly how many hours of sun each actually area receive on June 21st. So, and then we make average in order to compare the data. As you can see, we have some location on the roofs too. To ensure we have a fair comparison, we take out the rooftop data and then make an average again. And the result actually showed us in a code option was the most effective. We have was the actually code option was the most effective for shading in a both with and without adding the rooftop data. So in the next slide, I'm going to go over, winter solstice, and we use the same methodology, but the different criteria. We still have our key point table, but in winter, our goals flips. We want to maximum sun exposure during a winter time to create warm sun packets and capture passive, gain as we can to reduce. It's help us actually, reduce the building heat loads during a winter time. And let's go to comparison between options that we have. If you are looking the result, you will notice sun hours drop significantly on a courtyard, around the 43%. Even when we take out the rooftop data, the courtyard still shows, the latest amount of the sun. So, but we need to consider this analysis only reflects sun study. And it's important to note in winter time, we have, actually significant wind as well. So, and it's if we need to, highlight, we need to reviewing the wind study uh, for during that time, our critical time, which is the winter as well. So let's go overview the wind study. For wind study, we used Forma to run a rapid analysis. So I'm just, highlighted here that wind rapid analysis helps to save time and quickly understand what's going on in terms of the wind, on site in terms of the wind. So we ran rapid analysis on our, critical wind direction, which is north, actually north, west, and southwest. In this case, is a northwest. And then we set up the wind speed to match the site condition. As the result shows, the base side, in a base side or our baseline, we have a wind tunnel in the southeast. In a bar chart, we didn't solve it. So, and even we make another tunnel, wind tunnel here as well. On a cube, options, somehow we, reduce the effect of that, wind tunnel that we had on a, our base side, but not completely. But the courtyard option shows us its control effectively, and not only for, around building, but also we have a good, we create actually a calm, protected place in a courtyard as well. So that is the benefit, another benefit that we found for this option. Let's review for Southwest as well. The methodology is the same. Create, the bid speed and, go and, run a rapid wind study in Forma and compare the result together. So you can see we have on a northeast, we have a wind tunnel. So on a bar chart, we actually control, somehow make it, narrative. And on a bar chart, we, make it a little bit better. But on a courtyard, you can see is the best, better better. We have still have the tunnel, the wind tunnel, but it's better than other option. And also we still have a calm actually environment on a courtyard, so inside of the courtyard. So I wanted to, distinguish this slide from the wind study. This is a, wind comfort study. Unlike the previous analysis that we, focus on a specific wind direction, this actually wind comfort study is the annual average wind in all directions. So as you can see on the baseline and on all, from our base to cube option, bar and cube options, we created good places mostly for around our actually our buildings, mostly for walking and somehow sitting. But on a courtyard options, it's we created a great, a place for sitting. It means a variety of a range of outdoor activity can happen in this option than the others. So now it's time to combine sun and wind into the single, actually, a microclimate study. I think Forma has done a great job adding this feature because it's allow us interact both sun study and wind at the same time. So it's I think it's one of the great actually feature that they add on Forma site. So let's revisit all key parameters as one of the key point of our methodology, and it's helped us to again keep our team completely aligned. And let's go to show you. Okay, so let's review the summers. The summers, okay. Just back to it, just review that actually our parameters. So on a summer times, as we talked before, we want to have the lower and lower temperature, lower surface temperature to prevent actually heat stress. And also we want to, have a good amount of, wind, but we want to control it as well. And shading is the one critical point as well. Let's see and analyze our results that we ran. And again, we use the same methodology as before, and actually we choose a specific actually a location on the site and use Forma to calculate the temperature at that points, and then make average and then compare between the results. So in this case, we found the courtyard. It means on the December on actually summer solstice courtyard option works the best. And let's go over the winter solstice as well. So in the winter, we use this, again, the same methodology. We have key parameters table, and we have our, different actually criteria. We want to have, higher surface and, temperature and higher air temperature as well. We want to reduce or block wind, and also we want to have maximum exposure. Let's see and overview the result and see which options works better. In this case, our actually cube options works better than bar options and also courtyard. And this average number showing the cube options works better. Let's go to another study. I think this is the coolest study in Forma, which is noise study. So, as Shweta mentioned, in our site, we have two existing HVAC systems. And because it's the educational actually buildings, it's important to know what's happened in noise that these two HVAC system actually produced. To simulate the actually mechanical noise, we use a creative approach. In this case, we defined actually a specific road, adjusting annual traffic and a speed number to produce exactly 64 decibel noise in Forma. Thanks, Forma, about that. We created this road as a collaborated linear proxy to work as our HVAC system. And it's helped us to see the effect of the noise that produced from this existing HVAC. So let's go overview. The result comes from this noise study and this method. So you can see the courtyard have the best function than the other options, which is bar and cube, but we still have the problem on the west side. So our teams actually decided in order to solve this problem, placed all service rooms like mechanical rooms, like bathrooms, along this wall to serve as a sound barrier, actually for us, between actually the HVAC system and our classroom. So it makes our classroom very quiet. Let's go to the last study, which is solar study. We live in California, and since the building code require us to install solar panels, uh, it's important to know for us to know how much and to know total solar energy that produced for PV panel if we are, install them on the roof. So Forma gives our opportunity to us to calculate it very easily in the early design. So, and we see we are going to meet the code or not. We calculated the total energy, solar energy for both two of our options, which is courtyard and cube, and both of them shows we are gonna to meet code compliance. That's which is great. And now I'm going to go over our Forma board. So we use the Forma board as a central collaboration hub. We call it central collaboration hub because it allows us to all of teams actually can see the all of result instantly and also track improvement, and also all of us be share every design iteration and meets project's requirements, and at the end help us to keep everyone aligned, that is which is critical for pursuit projects. We have a short time to gather data and make a decision. So I'm going to pass the presentation to Ashwata. She's going to summarize our result and show the process that we had done from data to decision.
Thank you, Venus. Right. So, like Venus mentioned, doing analysis in Forma provided us a lot of helpful visuals along with data. And this was a group of scientists and researchers who really dig data. But then having a visual along with the data helped really get buy-in super quickly and also gain their confidence early on. So analyzing those three options, we created this very simplified chart to compare apples to apples. And with that comparison, we realized that the courtyard option was, even though it wasn't the perfect, it was checking off a lot of the boxes in each category. Those initially, those 5 key parameters that we had set, it was winning in most of them. And so for us, this was really an idea of it isn't about like choosing the best one, but the idea is really to understand that what are my trade-offs of choosing this versus the other option. And that was really the key thing we took away from doing all this analysis in Forma, is really distilling it down to what's so essential to the user and are we providing that or not. So uh, in my opinion, I think that was the best thing that could happen. And also because all of this analysis take fraction of time that we used to do in the past, it's a great tool for us to supercharge our analysis. And so for the next phase, we focused on rapid visualization because once we had that courtyard typology settled, we were casting this wide range of vocabulary, like what's possible out there. And we started with some ridiculous options. And this was for us to fail fast so we can succeed quickly. And discard all the bad ideas from these prototyping. And the best thing was that to do that, we didn't have to model every single one of them. We could quickly just visualize, zoom in and out fast enough, and model just the things that are necessary. So from that very early stage where we were looking at hundreds of options, we filtered it down to like, oh, come on, like what would really work for our climate and our typology? So then we filtered few ideas from that, and we were trying to look at like what's the aesthetic we are after, and what are the touchy-feely things that they would care about. And to do that, we also tried this emotional aspect of the spaces. So we started with different prompting, yielding us results about like what if it's a rainy day or a foggy day or a golden hour, and that that helped us get a better feedback from client. So instead of asking questions like, hey, do you like this box? We instead ask like, does this space feel right for you on a rainy Tuesday in December? Because we are in California. So in our mind, the image is this very sunny, bright, nice space, but we wanted to make sure that it's good enough for the entire year. And on the other extreme, we also tried this very hyper realistic materials on the STEM Center. Uh, and we generated comparative analysis of like what would an exposed mass timber would do versus a very cold concrete panel would do versus a live living wall would do. And this helped us do a temperature check on constructability standards and also the project budget. And it also helped us gain their feedback of where their barometer was moving. But then, as a final output, we were asked to create this 11 by 17. So we didn't want it to lean too much into this very hyper realistic image because then it kind of puts you in a corner. So instead, we kept it loose in a sketchy, sketch-like style where it was open to interpretations and open to adaptability in the future. And I felt like that worked much better instead of us showing a very polished final image. So this was also a series. We had done a series of iterations, and these are a few examples from that that really worked for us, where we were asking them like, does this courtyard space feel large enough? And do you think that is it incorporating that indoor-outdoor connection seamlessly, or is it incorporating those ideas of science on display the way you had thought about? And this was more or less closest to the final result that we had shared, where we were also adding those atmospheric aspects to the project, and also making sure that we populate the scene with people and nature to visualize that design for good ethos that we have at HMC and showing a vibrant, sustainable ecosystem. We also and we had also done a couple of walkthroughs, and that's also really great with all the new tools we have available in AI visualization. So in conclusion, I would like to say that this was a very efficient project for a very efficient process for a project pursuit, because there we have very limited time and resources. So we want to make sure that the tools that we have, we are using them very efficiently. And you may ask that why go through all this trouble, right? And in one word, I would say that confidence. It really gives you confidence in your sustainability goals because you test them early on. And it gives you confidence in your form because you are able to rapidly iterate and rule out all the bad ideas quickly. The client had confidence because our visualizations were clear and our data was compelling, and they were able to really understand, analyze, and also synthesize in their mind too. So I feel like this workflow turned very subjective opinions into a very data-driven decision making, giving us the peace of mind that we are designing the right project for the right site. And with that, I would like to say that thank you for attending this webinar, and I'm grateful for having the opportunity to share this project pursuit that we tried. And by no means it's perfect or like even ironed out, but this is one way we are trying to leverage all the tools that we have right now at our disposal. And remember, like it's changing so fast. In fact, just last week, I swapped a lot of images because what we are able to do with the tools that we have now, this was done 6 months back. So some of them has already been obsolete. So I had to swap a couple of images because I'm like, no, I can do better. So yeah, it's a ever evolving process that we are part of. And I think that's the most exciting part of being an architect, isn't it? So yeah.
Amazing presentation to both of you. Yeah, I think it was great how you showed all three options on all the analyses and which one performed better, right? It's very rare that you'll have a design option that performs the best in everything. So it's all about understanding the outcomes that you're trying to strive for, and evaluate the trade-offs to ensure that the design option you choose is the best overall given the circumstances. But amazing presentation. We do have a poll. People are already answering it, which is great. It's just based on what we've shown to you today. What features in Forma are you most excited to try out? All right, we're getting lots of questions in the chat as well. So we'll spend a couple seconds on this. And then go to questions. I do have a question for you guys, though. How long did you spend on this pursuit?
So we had 1 month to put
1 month.
everything together.
Mm-hmm.
There were also like there were a slow start and there were initial negotiations and talks, but then there was this 1 month of really doing the production and from getting all the criteria documents to delivering the final output.
1 month. Tight turnaround for sure. All right. Should we go on to questions? I'm not sure who's sharing the screen. If you can go to the next
I
slide.
am. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No worries. All right. So, a lot of questions on your image ideation slides and the renderings. The audience wants to know what tools did you use to generate those and how much of it
Okay.
you do in Forma versus other AI tools.
Okay. So all of image ideation, well, none of that was done in Forma. A lot of that was done in, and we didn't stick to one tool. We had started in Midjourney. We also tried ChatGPT. We had lukewarm success. In what really worked best was Gemini. And when Gemini launched Nano Banana, it just brought it to a different level. It just elevated it so much. Uh, what we had found is Gemini was really great with understanding all the data feedback you are putting in. So it's not trying to visualize. With Midjourney, what I had realized is it's a lot of, you can share. I may have those open.
So,
So
did you take screenshots of the massings in Forma and feed them into Gemini?
yes, yes. So and Midjourney was giving results like this. So that wasn't something that we were digging. And it was hard for it to synthesize or understand what we were trying to do, as opposed to when we were doing it in Gemini. We feel like that did slightly better. Uh, and we had done so we brought geometry from Forma into Rhino. And we had started extruding. I think that's on page, let me see, that is one. Oh, here. So can I go to the page?
Do you want Aisha? Do you want to share that?
Am I still sharing?
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yay, nay. Oh yeah, I'm still sharing.
Mm-hmm. While you're finding that, there's a question on parking analysis. Is it integrated in Forma? There's a surface parking analysis add-in with TestFit, and you can download or add the TestFit extension to your site and use that to generate number of spots given the geometry of your surface parking area.
So this was the feeder. We had started with a very basic extruded massing, and we were working off of that to generate a series of iterations, because we had few things very clear regarding like, oh, the maker space need to have a lot of northeast exposure. Some of We had all the program adjacencies that you see in this floor plan. So what benefited us is we didn't have to model every single one of the options, and we could still visualize all of these iterations without really detailing every single beam for it. And remember, like, of course, our final design was still done by a visualization expert, which was very different than what I'm showing here. But this was for us to really explore all the ideas before we move to that very final modeling of that refined design.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really interesting to see all of the suite of tools that you used and the workflow that you did between different tools and how Forma fits in the early part and how you can go into Rhino to further detail out the mass and then bring that into tools like Gemini to help with the renderings. And we are actually getting the capability in Forma board to generate with Gemini from the screenshots that we have in Forma board. So that wasn't available for this project, but that is something our team is working on so that you can also do that
That's
in
good.
Forma board coming soon, which is really exciting. And with that, we've hit time, but thank you all for joining and thank you very much, Venus and Shweta, for highlighting your success using Forma for this project. It's really wonderful to see coming from our own customers, how you're able to fit it into your workflows and existing toolbox. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.